Hi everyone, I'm Ebeling. You're watching Parents TV. Now between work, school, and all those activities...
Excellent. Here we go. Masha.
Enrolls.
Excellent job.
Today it seems like busy families are the norm. But when do you say enough is enough? Our guest today is parents coach Timothy Smith, and he says it all starts with the parents. Thanks for joining us, Tim.
Good to be with you. Yeah, a lot of parents are feeling kind of stressed themselves, and we researched them. As a Gallup Research Fellow, we were able to ask questions to parents all over the U.S., and we found out that 72% of America's families with school-aged children, 7 out of 10,
Wow.
are feeling stressed, and they're saying, hey, I don't have enough time to connect with my kids, and I don't have enough time to connect with my spouse if they're married. So if people are reporting that, we have a whole generation of both parents and kids that are hurried and disconnected.
So what are the symptoms then of a stressed family, of an overbooked family?
Well, you can look in your kids. Sometimes your kids are irritable. Sometimes they're not getting enough sleep. There's a lot of homework. There's a lot of schedules. And you can actually see physical symptoms in them too. Irritable bowel syndrome. You can have headaches and lack of sleep. And you can see all this, and it shows up sometimes in their grade. It certainly shows up with their attitudes.
So how do you know when enough is enough?
How much is enough? It's a big question. I think for each kid it's going to be a little bit different. You might have one child that can handle a little bit more. You know, Columbia University did research on this as well, and they found out that today's kids are basically overscheduled and feeling underconnected. And they have a report called Hardwired to Connect. We're finding out that children and adults really have this hardwiring that where we want to connect. And so I like to tell parents, sometimes you might be doing more for your kids by doing less. And we need to be available, and we actually need margins of time in our day. And sometimes we can help kids really excel just by creating little margins of time when they can say, you know, Mom, I'm bored. I tell parents, hey, if your kid comes to you and says, I'm bored, you can just pat yourself on the back because you've created a little margin when they've had a time to reflect and rest and not feel always hurried.
So how do you balance that with, you know, the desire for them to be involved in activities and enriching their lives?
You have to be strong enough, you have to be courageous enough, and have self-esteem enough as a parent to know that you don't have to have your kids signed up for everything else that other parents do. You know, a lot of times we feel like we're loser parents if we don't have our kids signed up for the 6 activities that everybody else does. Sometimes it's good just to say we're going to have one activity at a time, and we can do that next season. And if you can be strong and courageous like that as a parent, that way you won't be tempted. You won't be that wimpy parent who says, oh, I'm afraid, so I'll sign my kids up for everything.
And you have a theory, or with a comfortable chair. I mean, that's a big staple of what you teach as far as overscheduled families. I mean, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I call this the technique called the smiling chair, And what you do in that is you get, your favorite magazine, you get your favorite drink, and you get maybe your favorite recliner, and you want to look available, because a lot of times if you have children, especially if they're older, let's say 5th grade on up, middle school, high school certainly, when they walk in the room you just kind of give them that look, it's you again, and we send them all these nonverbal messages that you're irritating, you bug me, why don't you leave me alone, because we don't say that, but that's what they read. So if we can be in a chair reading our magazine with our favorite drink, propped up, they walk in, we put the magazine or the book down, and we just smile at them as they walk across the room. Because so many times they irritate us. Our kids give us enough fuel that we can be agitated 24/7. So if they come into the room and they see us smiling, they see us relaxed, they see us approachable, and giving them that positive vibe non-verbally, they're going to be more likely to come talk to us. So I was sharing this in San Diego, and Mom called me the next day, and she goes, I tried this with my 15-year-old son. I was sitting in the chair, I had my drink, he walked into the room, and normally I go, how was school? And he goes, oh no. Nowhere, no one, leave me alone, just grunts. He's a 15-year-old boy.
Right.
But I just sat in my chair, had my drink, I said, hi, honey, and just smiled as he walked across the room. He said, Mom, are you okay? And she said, yes, I'm just happy to have you home, honey. It's so good to see you. He went and got something in the kitchen to eat, and he came back, sat down, and said, Mom, have you been drinking? And she said, no, just my iced tea. And she said, well, he said, what are you smiling about? He goes, I'm just so happy that you're my son, and we have a few minutes to talk. So he told her all about his day, and she told me he went on and on. She goes, it was the best conversation. Usually with a 15-year-old boy, all I get is grunts. But he talked all about this stuff that he was concerned about. She said, Tim, I think he talked for 5 minutes. So for
wow.
a
Good
15-year-old boy,
quality time
that's a long time. So try the smiling chair. Relax, smile, look available, approachable, and try to look positive with your nonverbal messages.
And so that just goes to show, not only in this instance, but in all instances with your kids, nonverbal communication is important, right?
That's right. And play is too. If you can figure out something that you can do for play with your kids, you just have upped, the likelihood that you can connect, because the kids' economy is play. And if you can trade in that economy, this is fun, and you can find some way to connect with them, that's really helpful. Don't buy that quality time myth. We're going to connect, we're going to have this conversation, adult, eyeball, I've scheduled 5 minutes for you. That doesn't work with kids, because you have to have big chunks of quantity to get the quality.
Well, thank you so much, Tim, for joining us, and thanks for that information. And for more information like this, you can go to www.parentscoach.org. Thanks for watching Parents TV, your source for the best information for your growing family.
Thank you for watching Parents TV, our families, our lives.